Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey. Long before Hugo Pratt's Corto Maltese and even before Milton Caniff's Terry and the Pirates, there was Captain Easy, the guy over there here, and he was drawn by a fellow named Roy Crane. There we have him. So I want to talk today about these fine tomes from Fantagraphics that contain and reprint the complete Sunday newspaper strips, and you can see they are pretty huge. And this is volume 1, collecting the strips from 1933 to 1935. Here we have volume 2 with the strips from 1936 to 1937, and here you have almost the template for Corto Maltese, maybe. But you can see there's a much more light-hearted tone to these strips, which I like really. But more about that obviously later. And this is volume 3, 1938 and up to 1940. And the last volume here contains the strips from 1940 up to 1943. So, and they reprint the Sunday strips in huge size, and a size they deserve actually, and they are reprinted in their full color glory, which is fantastic because Roy Crane had this deceivingly simple linear clear art style with clear lines, outlines, so the colors could really pop. But I will come to the coloring here and the Bandai dot coloring in a later video. So I want to focus today on some of my favorite panels and storylines and stuff like that. And to tell you the truth, I fell in love with the strip here right there with panel 1, where the hordes of Genghis Khan are depicted. But look what a fun they have to be the brute villains they are. And Roy Crane has a way of drawing animals in a very fun way. Yeah, that's something I want to show later. Look fun. Instance here. Wild confusion, indeed. So he could switch between a funny style and a more realistic style, just as he wants to. And when you look at these panels, obviously every comparison that comes to your mind is reasonable. Tintin, the Hernandez brothers, whatever comes to your mind, you will find the roots of many fine comics in these strips here, which is really fascinating. And it obviously helped that he could draw some nice ladies, not only as a nice decoration, but sometimes they really are more than just decorative bimbos, so to speak. This is almost famous panel, I think, where he uses the reflection in this pond over there. Like the title suggests, Captain Easy is a soldier of fortune, adventurer, traveler without a particular destination, except that he looks out where the next adventure could be. And look at the ridiculous action and fun stuff. Even the leaves on the trees are fun to look at. And violence is always really subdued and toned down, and it's there, but it's somehow hidden and feels a bit more like, yeah, very cartoony in a way. You don't have to fear for these two guys. They are just knocked out. And even when we have machine guns over there, we hardly believe that there really are bullets in them. But to contradict myself, Captain Easy has some kind of superpower in these adventures here, and that's yeah, to kill other people with a machine gun. But you don't really see the bloodshed that he creates with a machine gun. And especially in these kind of panels, Roy Crane's ability to be cartoony at his cartooniest really comes to play. And look at these fun panels here. And here we have the witch. But despite of Roy Crane's clarity in all of his panels, there's a lot of stuff to discover on a second read. For instance, this person here blowing the horn in the background. And look how modern this way of cartooning actually looks. It's incredible. And it's hard for me not to talk about the colors today, because maybe they are for me the real stars in these collections here. But as I said it, I will do this in a later video. And here we have some other examples of Roy Crane's fascinating storytelling. I mean, the stories are not so surprising, of course. I mean, you know always that the good guys will survive, and yeah, they're simple adventures that could be liked from little boys, but from adults as well. And this is really nice, I think, when you look at panels like these, or when really something horrible happens, we are just informed with panels like this here, very cartoony summaries of stuff that would be actually pretty horrible if we would see all the details. But now to volume 2, and yeah, here we can see that some women in the stories are not mere decoration. I mean, she's pretty decorative, of course, but she can fight as well. She's not only a damsel in distress. And you can see how he manages to use just very minimalistic measures to create expressions. I mean, the guy here in the forefront, just 2 dots, but you can see how curious he peeks into that bag. And sometimes it's even in the dialogue of some panel that doesn't stand out on the first glance, but when you read it, you get really the characterizations of different reactions of a dangerous situation here. Stop the engines, there are gangsters aboard. Who cares? Get back where you belong. I mean, this panel right here is really a brilliant depiction how people can react. The hero or the opportunist, and yeah. So now I want to summarize some of my favorite stories of Captain Easy. First one is Dinwiddie's Adventure, and it's about this guy here who is a member of some elitist club, and Captain Easy is invited, and he wants to experience some adventure and asks the adventurers Captain Easy for help. So, yeah, no problem. Captain Easy recommends to go to the central station and tell random people in the central station that, all has been discovered, but I can help you. So, yeah, Mr. Dinwiddie tries that, and then he has sort of success with this lady here. She faints, and her bag opens, and there's a lot of money in it, and suddenly poor Dinwiddie is amidst a story full of bloodshed and horror and so on, more than he actually would have liked, I guess. But it's a really fun story when you read it. Same is true for Lost at Sea, the next story here in this collection, about this millionaire here who rides some head of an elk. Another part of a panel that I like immensely. Yeah, he has some problems with his family and his everyday life. His wife is a real pain in the ass, and his son is no better, seemingly. So he wants to escape and begs Captain Easy for help. The plan is actually to fake his own death and then escape to some deserted island. It all goes well until, you can guess it, some old friends of his appear, and his hidden place is blown. His secret is no secret anymore. And Roy Crane there really had a run, because of the next story about some hobo king is really fun as well. So overall, I would recommend, when you want to start with Captain Easy, go for the second volume, because the first volume starts with fantastic art right from the beginning, as I said it, but the stories improve a lot with volume 2, in my opinion. And in volume 3 there are some strong stories as well, while in volume 4 the whole stuff peters out a bit. Maybe, and that's my guess, due to the beginning of the Second World War. That was certainly a problem for some more light-hearted, cartoony strip like Captain Easy. Milton Caniff's Terry and the Pirates really took the opportunity, if I could say so, and developed their comic, their cartoon, to almost a reportage of the Second World War. But Captain Easy wasn't that good of a vehicle for this kind of stuff, so it petered out a bit. But the succeeding series Buzz Sawyer of Roy Crane covered that, and it is published by Fantagraphics as well. In volume 3 of Captain Easy we have maybe the most famous storyline of Captain Easy. It's pretty much the blueprint for many adventure comics that came afterwards. I think of particular of Tintin, but again, it's hard not to think of Archie or the Hernandez brothers when you look at the depictions of these characters here. But this guy here is some kind of professor, and I think of the professor in Tintin in German. It's Professor Bienlein, but I don't know the name in the English comics or the French original one. They look out for some bugs, doodle bugs, or he looks out, but the deal is sweetened with hidden treasure of some jewels and riches that they could hunt as well. And obviously we have a villain who competes in that mission. I forgot to mention this guy here, Wash Tubbs. He's the sidekick of Captain Easy, or rather the other way around. Captain Easy was the sidekick on the Monday to Friday strips, but here on this in the Sundays it's more or less the other way around. But they took all a bit of a back seat, even the beautiful women, when these swings here appear. These are creatures somewhere between a swine and a skunk, and with an fantastic smellers, like they say here. They can smell not only doodlebugs from far, far away, but other stuff as well. And this is really a fun, nice, light-hearted adventure way back there in the jungle. And I think at the latest, in this point in the saga, it's clearly visible how much fun Roy Crane had in drawing his characters. It's visible in each and every panel. It's just masterfully how he tells his story. With just the proper means, he showcases details when it's necessary, but simplifies it when it's necessary as well. So maybe I would say this is enough to give you some impression. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.